What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, joined by my co-host, Alex Wilson. I think that's the most energy that I've had in one of these intros, positive energy at least, in a few days here. It's been a lot of negative energy lately. We have a lot to be upset about with the New York Giants, let's face it. That's the facts of the matter. However, other facts of the matter, there were some bright spots in that week one game. Now, they're hard to focus on. It's hard to look at this game and find positives, but if you dig deep enough, get under the surface level, you'll find them, and that's what we've done for you guys, of course. We don't want to be all doom and gloom all week long here. It's the disappointing week one loss. We're not happy about it, but on to week two. Hopefully Daniel Jones bounces back, balls out. He's got the offensive line to do it, that's for sure, and that's what we're going to discuss in this episode. We loved the way the offensive line played in this game. If you actually look at the PFF stats, I know that Daniel Jones was sacked 5 times, but they only charged the offensive line with 1 of those sacks. So what does that tell you? There were clean pockets, and the offensive line performed well, particularly in pass protection. The PFF stats back that up. Honestly, the eye test backs that up. We're going to throw some film on top of this video, so all of you guys watching on YouTube, you could see some of what we're talking about with these clean pockets, because honestly, I was really impressed with the offensive line, especially when I took a look at the All-22. So we kind of just want to be positive today, get happy, talk about this O-line. Andrew Thomas looked like that All-Pro stud we know he is. I saw some really nice reps from Jermaine Illuminor, man. Like, he looked really good throughout that game on Sunday, and even some of the guards and John Michael Schmitz, the center, they had some good reps on that film as well. So excited to dive into it, discuss this offensive line, discuss why we're actually happy about it for once. I don't know, Alex, have we ever sat down and done a film breakdown where we were like, yo, I'm happy with the offensive line? I feel like every time it's been, wow, look at how bad Evan Neal is. But this week, we're actually sitting down, positive report on the offensive line. I'm pretty excited about that. How are you feeling about it?
I mean, like you said, it's been a long time since we've had anything positive to say about the Giants' offensive line. If there's any silver lining, it's that I think by the end of the season, barring any significant injuries, this line is going to look like a top probably 15 unit, which would just make them above average. I think they're going to be above average. They ranked 14th in pass protection following week one. And guys, that's above average, even though very slightly it is above average. And we will freaking take that. There is no excuses for Daniel Jones or anyone to be struggling at the quarterback position for this Giants team with that much time in the pocket. He had the 12th most time in the pocket. So we need him to step up. We need him to play better, but we're talking about the offensive line today. Some really big performances. There are a couple guys who will look to be compounding good days, look to be bouncing off some weaker performances. But as a whole, I didn't notice anything that was like, okay, this is a liability. That guy's a liability. This guy stinks. That guy's terrible. For the most part, I was like, these guys are competent. They're playing as a unit. They're playing as a team. They're playing with synergy, playing with chemistry. And that only expects to grow, right? I mean, keep this in mind. John Runyan was injured for like most of the final couple of weeks of training camp and going into the season and preseason. Greg Van Roten was signed late to come in and start for this team. Those two guys were the weakest links in the line in week one, and both of them barely had any time to actually develop any chemistry in this unit. Of course, Greg Van Roten coming over from Las Vegas already has chemistry with Brasillo and obviously Jermaine Illuminor, but they have a different offense. It's a different offense, a different scheme. Everything's different in that regard. So I'm not surprised those were the two guys that struggled, but I'm expecting compounding good performances. Nobody got hurt, knock on wood. We love that. That's how you ultimately get better, is being healthy and staying consistent. So Anthony, I'll let you kick it off for us in terms of what we're going to discuss here, some of the individual performances, and obviously we have a little cool surprise for you guys in this episode. It's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I got box cutter here, baby. Let's go ahead and talk about this. This is pretty cool. So context, I'm sure you guys have seen me wear this shirt on the podcast plenty of times. I've worn this one out. I've had this since December. My good buddy Max, shout out to you. He got me this shirt for Christmas. It's from this company, Homage, and Homage right here. Really like this shirt. It's actually one of the most comfortable shirts I own.
Looks
and
nice.
They reached out to us. They sent us a little merch, some Giants stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do a little unboxing today. Let me cover my
we've never done this before.
Off to everybody. This is some fun stuff for us. So we're going to go ahead and break open these boxes.
Yeah, I got one too right here. Let's see what we got. Actually, the box is cool. See, check this out. It's pretty awesome. All cool vintage stuff in it. Pretty sure there's a couple hats. Maybe Maybe a T-shirt, a vintage Giants T-shirt. Hopefully, it reminds us of the better days of this team. But okay, let's see. I don't even know how to open this freaking box.
Yeah, I do really like their stuff because, like this shirt in particular, you see it's got the old Giants logo on it. It says the helmet catch. Like this is one that I do really like, and all of their stuff has this nice throwback look to it. So
check this out. Oh, that's cool. Check this out. Check this out. Oh, this hat's actually sick. What the hell?
I've seen some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Damn.
I'm hyped.
Look at this. Look at this hat. I knew had to wear on the podcast.
Ditch this thing. This on here. Yes, sir.
Not really my style, but we'll make it work for today.
I gotta fix the size of it. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
right.
Nah, this is cool though. I like this design here.
Looks good on you.
Everything looks good on me, brother.
That's fair enough. Damn, my head's too big for this, man. My head is too big for this.
That's nice. New era cap. You know, I like that. You guys always see me wearing a hat on because I hate my hairline. Let me take a look at this shirt.
Still, my head's too big for this.
No, I can't lie though. This like I've worn this shirt so many times because it's just like the softest shirt I have. The quality is being maintained with this one as well. Just basic Giants logo here on a gray shirt.
Oh, I have a different one.
And
than
it's
you.
super comfortable. Very comfortable shirt. You have something different?
This. Yeah. Check it. Oh, what the heck?
There you go.
No, this. Oh dude, this is sick. This is actually a really cool shirt. You gotta check. I don't know if you got the same one as I did. This is actually sick. Hold on. Dude, this is awesome. This is awesome. Did you get the same one?
This one too. Yeah, this
nice,
is sick.
dude. This is actually freaking sick. Ninja Turtles. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is awesome. It's actually a nice quality.
It's just as soft and comfortable as this one too.
Dude, this is such a cool shirt.
Yeah, this is sick.
Damn, man, look at this.
I love pizza. I love turtles, and I love the New York Giants. So this is right up my alley.
I might be lactose intolerant, but damn, I'm wearing this shirt all the time. God, let's check out this other shirt. So mine was a little different than yours. It actually was a commemorative.
Oh, that's
awesome.
Nice. That's
throwback.
Right?
That's a throwback, right?
Yeah,
this is
I
awesome.
like that. That's the old Giants logo. Real
Thank you to
old Giants
Homage
logo.
for this. This is an awesome box. Even the box is cool.
The box is really cool. I'm gonna keep this box.
There you are.
Sometimes I throw my boxes away, but this one,
keeping that box.
I'm rocking with. All right, buddy. No, yeah,
damn.
Honestly, these are sick, super comfortable.
Wow.
Go check out Homage, guys. Really cool shirts and everything. I'll definitely be wearing the crap out of those on this podcast. So, thank you to Homage. Really do appreciate it. Cool stuff, guys. Go check it out. We'll put it down in the description box and in the comment section. You can check out the merch from Homage, like this cool hat. I don't know how well I rock this thing, but I'm sure someone else.
You gotta bend the bill. You gotta bend the bill.
Yeah, I know. I have a weird
this type of hat, you know
I'm
what?
a little funny looking.
This is going on my wall. This is going on my wall.
That deserves to go on the wall. That's
going on my wall.
No doubt. No doubt.
Right. It's going on the wall. It's going on the wall. Oh yeah.
There we go.
There we go. Logan.
Now you're looking good.
Bam.
All right.
There you go. The wall.
All right.
That's
now,
sick.
thanks again, Homage. Let's go ahead and dive into this Giants offensive line, though. Let's talk about Andrew Thomas first and foremost. Let's get this out of the way. 50 snaps, 50 pass blocking snaps, 0 pressures. Not one. 0 pressures, 0 sacks allowed. He had 70 total snaps in the game, 50 in pass protection. Alex, when Andrew Thomas is healthy, he's among the 3 to 5 best offensive tackles in the entire NFL. And what that does for an offense is like astronomically great, right? Like as a run blocker, as a pass protector. Love Andrew Thomas. Love what he brings to the football field. And I was super impressed with everything he did in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the best offensive tackles in the game. And listen, despite the fact that the Giants look horrible, he still manages to look great whenever he's healthy and ready to go. And listen, like you said, he had 52 snaps, didn't give up a single pressure. He had the highest grade on the Giants by far. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was in the league. To be honest, he might have been up there, one of the best tackle performances of this week 1 slate of games. But that's really encouraging. And guys, I just want to say again, I freaking love Jermaine Illuminor. Like, I know he quote tweeted me yesterday, whatever it was. I actually think that he is one of my favorite players. He is the type of guy that, even though I know he may not be here for a long time, I would buy his jersey because he is just a genuinely good dude looking to be great with this team. And week 1 in New York, in a big spot, he put up a really solid performance, better than anything that we've seen in maybe 10 years, Anthony, on week one at right tackle for us. It has been a long time since we've had a competent right tackle, and he only signed here for 2 years, $14 million, guys. Like, he did us a huge favor. I don't think we understand just how valuable he is. And I know we're supposed to be talking about Andrew Thomas here, but I can't stop myself from giving him, Jermaine Illuminor his flowers, because the guy just showed up and put on a good performance. And, for a Vikings pass rush that has Dallas Turner and Van Ginkel and has some solid pieces, he had a 76.5 pass blocking grade. That's probably the highest pass blocking grade, Anthony, that I think the Giants have had at right tackle in like literally years. I don't remember a time when they've had a performance like that. He gave up 3 pressures over 52 snaps, and I think he gets better and better and better. I'm okay with 3 pressures because usually it's 3 sacks. I just want to give him that shout out. Jermaine Illuminor has changed the outlook of this offensive line. So I do really think that this tackle situation, yeah, Evan Neal may have been a bust. Yeah, he may be way behind the curve here, but Jermaine Illuminor is helping smooth that over pretty nicely right now, in my opinion.
Dude, and one other thing that I want to point out here for the offensive line, and I'm going to give my flowers to Jermaine Illuminor as well, but 70 snaps from Andrew Thomas, 70 snaps from John Runyon, 70 from JMS, 70 from Van Roten, and 70 from Jermaine Illuminor. Alex, when was the last time? I don't know if it happened at all last season because of all the injuries they had on the offensive line. When was the last time that the Giants had all 5 offensive linemen on the field for 100% of the team's snaps?
I wasn't alive. Or I wasn't. Yeah. My memory doesn't recall.
I'm sure it happened a couple times last season, here or there, but it definitely didn't happen where the offensive line also played this well in any of those games last season. We dealt with a lot of injuries last year, that's for sure, and we were constantly rotating guys in and out of the lineup last season, and we were having terrible performances. Players weren't benched that needed to be benched at times, but no, in week 1, we got 70 snaps from all 5 of those offensive linemen, and we got good football from all 5 of those offensive linemen. It wasn't perfect through and through, but it was good football from all of those guys, and I'm super impressed by it. Like you said, Jermaine Illuminor brought stability to that right tackle position, which we haven't had in God knows how long at this point. It's been forever since the Giants have had a stable presence at right tackle, solid in pass protection. Like you said, a 73.2 overall PFF pass blocking grade. That's excellent. I will flip back over to Andrew Thomas, though, Alex, and clarify for you. 91.4 pass blocking grade was number 1 in the NFL this past weekend.
Who the hell was that?
He was rock solid. That was Andrew Thomas, rock solid, 91.4 in pass blocking grade, that. Number 1 in the NFL. So it's what you love to see. Jermaine Illuminor was in the upper half of offensive tackles, though. I don't know when the last time the Giants had an offensive tackle not named Andrew Thomas be in the upper half of the NFL. So great performance there. And I'll even throw this out there, Alex. John Michael Schmitz only had 1 pressure. He didn't have many games with only 1 pressure last year, okay? He played some solid football, and I've been saying it. If John Michael Schmitz plays well this season, he is the X factor of this offensive line. He can be the glue in the center, the anchor of this offensive line to hold everything together. What did you see from him specifically, Alex? And maybe even couple that with the rest of those interior guys, JMS, John Runyon, and Greg Van Roten. I thought that the interior of the offensive line had its lapses, but was overall pretty solid.
I mean, there were people calling JMS a bust already, and I think that was very, very premature to be doing so because, when all is said and done, this Giants, coaching staff in general, like, they did not give JMS even a chance to succeed. Justin Pugh off the bench or Marcus McKethin or Bredesen. Like, there were so many guys that aren't starting on good teams alongside JMS, and he was every single week playing alongside somebody different. Not to mention, the increase in probability of injury when you're 2 guys right next to you don't know what they're doing, don't know the snap count, don't know the plays. Like, it's impossible to succeed. So JMS was put in a position to fail, and he was always going to fail because he was a rookie out of Minnesota who had some obvious developmental variables that needed more support. And he's a very smart player, but he needed to get better in pass protection. That was always a part of his game and his developmental projection. So I'm not surprised that, it was taking him a little bit longer, but he is far from a bust. He is not Evan Neal right now, my friends. He had a couple of ups and downs, but that first game, I mean, he was solid. He gave up 1 pressure, as you mentioned. Most of all, he communicated really, really effectively. And as a center, your primary job, aside from, obviously doing everything else a normal offensive lineman would do, is to communicate Silent counts are so many different variables. The Giants had no problem snapping the football. I didn't see any wayward snaps, Anthony. I don't know if you did, but Daniel Jones was catching that ball right in his freaking gut every time. It was perfect. He had the ball really nicely. It wasn't like the Eagles and Jalen Hurts where they were having penalties and, fumbles, and it was all sorts of trouble. JMS did an excellent job getting the ball to Daniel Jones, did an excellent job communicating, and this team is going to see major progression here and major development, taking steps forward with a young guy like JMS, just taking steps in the right direction and getting more action under his belt and staying healthy. And keep in mind, guys, like he missed a good chunk of training camp too with that shoulder injury. He came back like 3 weeks after training camp started. So, he really is set back. Same with John Runyon and Greg Van Roten. Those three guys are fighting behind the curve right now. So I think as they get into more midseason form here, we're going to see consistently better performances. And I think the Giants the offensive line is going to put up a show. Really is going to come down to just Daniel Jones making the throws and making the decisions and not stinking it up. So I think that really is what will come down to the offense playing at a high level. It's always been about the quarterback. If the Giants had a quarterback that could get the ball out and operate this offense, they'd be a solid team. On offense, at least, because their offensive line was good enough. I bet you Matthew Stafford would have loved to have the Giants' offensive line this past weekend. You know what I mean? Like, I just think like it's night and day from what we've seen in the past.
Don't make me sit here and dream of Matthew Stafford throwing the Giants offense.
Anybody else, dude?
Right
not even Stafford. I'd rather Jaden Daniels. I'd rather anybody than freaking.
Come on, we're trying to be positive today. Stop.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Being positive. And positively speaking, this offensive line was great. I will actually flip it over and be a little bit negative right now and just mention that there were some things to clean up. I don't want to just sit here and hype you guys up and be like, oh my God, this offensive line was perfect. It wasn't perfect, all right? Like, there were some mistakes that were made by this unit. John Runyon Jr. did allow a sack. He was the only offensive lineman on the New York Giants charged with one. He had 2 total pressures. He also did allow a quarterback hit, as did Jermaine Illuminor. Greg Van Roten allowed 2 quarterback hits as well and 2 hurries with 4 total pressures. Again, those are fine stats. Like, it's week 1. Mm-hmm. That's not bad. Like, that's a good stat line from all 5 of those guys, especially, obviously, Andrew Thomas. But we don't even have to talk about him anymore. We know he was rock solid, all-pro, basically. But when you're looking at those guards, Alex, I thought that was where the Giants had a little bit of trouble in this game. I thought that Van Roten did have some moments where he was beat. John Runyon Jr. had a few moments. There was one where I actually saw this clip. I'm going to try and overlay it at this point in the video. But Andrew Thomas was basically locking down the Vikings edge rusher, and John Runyon ran over to try and help him and let somebody run right through the gap and basically pressure Daniel Jones. I think that that's really just a case of this being week 1 and John Runyon not knowing that you don't have to give Andrew Thomas any help. Doesn't matter how good the guy going up against him is, just leave him there. Leave him on an island. Don't go help him. Just stay there and wait for another pass rusher to come through. Let Andrew Thomas do his thing. But again, that's something that you learn as you play together. And so John Runyon, while he had some of these lapses, my point being, he wasn't perfect, but he's going to get better, I think, because he's playing with a great left tackle in Andrew Thomas, and it's just going to take time for them to gel together. On top of that, like you said earlier, Alex, John Runyon had an injury that he was dealing with in training camp, so this was his first time really ramping back up and getting up to full football speed, and he looked good, He did have a few lapses, but he still played good football, and that's what you need to see from the Giants offensive linemen that they spent $10 million a year on in free agency this offseason. They spent big money on John Runyon. They needed him to step in there and play some good football right away. He's doing that. So I'm happy all across the board here. All 5 guys, even Greg Van Roten had the lowest PFF grade with a 46.6, and no complaints from me, man. That's better than the 38s and the 32s that we were getting from some of these guys last year. So screw it, man. I'm happy with it. Not to overblow it, guys. Like, this wasn't all pros all across the board, but we got at least average play from all 5 of them, and then we got top-level play from at least 2 of them. So,
dude,
love what I saw from this offensive line.
You look at the rankings, man, and I haven't seen the Giants rank above 20 in years. Like, maybe since before we started this podcast, straight up. It's been that long. They ranked 14th in pass protection this week. That is, if you're a Giants fan, you should be blown away. You should be so happy because, as we mentioned, John Runyon, Greg Van Roten, and JMS have all had problematic off seasons where they were missing time due to injury, or they weren't even here in Greg Van Roten's case. And they just walked in, and Carmen Priscillo coached them up to have an above-average performance in week 1 after the Bobby Johnson era, where we couldn't even sniff average. Not even close. You should be absolutely smitten with that type of performance. Smitten. And I mean, to be quite honest with you, if they compound good weeks like this, if they get better, I know the second half wasn't nearly as good as the first half in terms of the film. A lot of what Daniel Jones did directly complicated things because he was running into sacks. It was ugly on the tape from him. He was running right into sacks, and I do think that they will clean that up. I do think that Daniel Jones will get better. I mean, I can't be much worse, but I guess we say that all the time. You know how many times, Anthony, I've said it can't get much worse than it does? Like, I thought I saw the worst of it, and then the Giants somehow managed to set the bar even lower. I just can't see how Daniel Jones does much worse than he did last week. But again, you just never know with the Giants. You just never know. But when you look at the Commanders, yeah, like their defense is not their strong point. They do have Bobby Wagner now. They have some different pieces, so like they are getting better, but they are still far from good. I'm more so concerned about the defense for this Giants team against Jaden Daniels and stopping his running game. They didn't really let him throw the ball much. It was a lot of dinks and dunks. They didn't let him uncork that arm. If they let it fly this week, it's going to be interesting to see if this Giants defense can kind of stand up and mitigate things. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun week for the Giants to see if they can bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really let him air it out in week 1, but rookie first start. Seems like the perfect time to air it out. Seems like the first time to air it out is against the Giants defense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's if you want to build your confidence, man. Giants are a great opponent to do that.
We're talking about a defense that just let Sam Darnold complete his first 12 passes of the game. They're gonna let Jaden Daniels show off that arm that won him a Heisman last year. Like, let's face it, Giants got to be ready for that. They cannot look at that week 1 film. Jaden Daniels. I'm drawing a blank. Alex, who did the Commanders play last week? Totally forgetting.
Commanders played.
Because I know that they took that ground and pound game.
The Bucks. Yes, and they gave up 37 points. So
talk about a quarterback who
Baker Mayfield. Good for him, man. Good for him.
Baker Mayfield. That's what I was about to talk about. Oh man, Baker Mayfield throwing to Malik Neighbors would solve all my problems. That's not going to happen though. I wish. Anyway, back to Jaden Daniels. Just bringing up the point where he wasn't asked to do a lot of throwing last week. You didn't expect that of him. Rookie, his first start. But when you go up against the Giants defense that allowed all that yardage to a guy like Sam Darnold and let him complete so many passes, I have to imagine that the Commanders are going to try and they're going to try and turn Jaden Daniels loose this week, and that's going to be the goal here. Because when you have a rookie quarterback in the lineup, you want to help him compound big days, like have a good week. Okay, now let's clean up on this. Let's add this to the offense this week. All right, now this next week, let's add this little element to the offense. Last week, they didn't have that deep pass necessarily going in Washington. This week, again, against the Giants defense that was vulnerable in the passing game, they're going to let him throw that ball. And so the Giants need to be ready for that. They can't look at this week 1 film of Jaden Daniels versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and expect to get that. They can't be like, all right, he didn't throw the ball deep a whole lot. Let's not focus on that in our practicing. Like, let's game plan for his rushing ability. Yeah, you got to game plan for his rushing ability, but you got to understand this kid could throw a deep ball. I know Brian Dable knows that. So they got to get ready for that in this upcoming game. And so that's going to be our mini preview as we lead up into this week 2 matchup that we're going to discuss a whole lot more throughout the week and do some more film breakdowns and a bunch of other fun stuff. But Alex, any final thoughts here if you want to touch on that kind of storyline as we head into week 2, or maybe any closing thoughts on this offensive line before we wrap?
Listen, for the Giants, it's always how are they going to bounce back? If they put together another ugly performance and lose this game, it's going to be mayhem. Like, it's going to be job watch time. And we're going to have another really difficult discussion, lots of emotion again. But if they bounce back and they show that they're a competent football team and they're not as bad as what they showed in week 1, it'll be rejoice and we'll have a better day and we'll be able to move forward and at least have a little bit of happiness there. But, if you're a Giants fan right now, it's doomsday. It's like it's week 1 and we already feel like this team is not taking any steps forward. What do they do all summer? They wasted time. They did a lot of stuff we didn't agree with and we were very pessimistic because we did not understand what they were doing most of the time. A lot of their acquisitions, they created weaknesses where there weren't any. And now we're here and like, wait a second, like that wasn't a weakness last year. Now it is. The one thing they did fix, seemingly, or at least they progress, is the offensive line. And we're going to harp on that. We're going to say, okay, like now you get a good quarterback and you can at least have a manageable, competent offense. So we'll see what the future looks like in that regard. But if Daniel Jones is holding back this offense next week and the week after, at what point do you say at what point do you pull the plug? That's going to be the conversation we have next week, barring any big bounce back. So I do think that at the moment, this team is talented enough to bounce back and have a good performance. It's just a matter of, are they disciplined enough to do it? And can they not shoot themselves in the face every time? That's kind of what I'll be looking forward to watching this upcoming Sunday at 1 p.m. But the Commanders are no joke anymore, guys. Like, they're not a good team, but they're not as bad as they once were. So I definitely think it's going to be a little different moving forward.
Yeah, there is definitely a battle this season for third place in the NFC East. We can't just assume that Washington's going to finish beneath us in the standings. They're better than they used to be, and they have some exciting pieces. So, again, we're going to get into game previews later on in the week, but really happy to sit down and talk about a good offensive line today, Alex. I'm happy. I'm very excited about that. So let's hope that the Giants' offensive line can continue this, keep stacking good weeks together, and hopefully get some better performances from the signal caller behind them, and then start to win some games this season. It's not over yet, guys. I know it was doom and gloom, but it's only week 1. I'm holding out hope that they're going to turn this thing around because I need to. I need to hold on to that hope. Otherwise, I will lose my mind. But anyway, that pretty much wraps this one up. Once again, thanks to Homage. These shirts were sick, and I'm rocking with this hat. I think I look good, and I can't wait to wear some more of these Homage shirts because these are really cool. And like I said, I can't explain this to you guys. I don't know what materials they use, but these shirts are just so comfortable.
Silk from the finest
insane.
spiders. I don't know, man.
Yeah, literally. That's why you guys see me wear this shirt all the time. So really happy with this. Thanks again, Homage. Super excited to rock these on the show. But that wraps this one up. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Ring the bell so you don't miss an episode. Comment your thoughts down below in the comment section. Listen on Apple or Spotify. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review. Go ahead and follow us on all of our social media channels at Fireside Giants. Without further ado, we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Giants.